Einstein, His Life and Universe. This is the biography wrote by Walter Isaacson. I will highly recommend to read this book. Here are some of the quotes by Einstein. Blind respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. A new idea comes suddenly and in rather intuitive way, but intuition is nothing but the outcome of earlier intellectual experience. Another one, people who live in a society enjoy looking into each other's eyes, who share their troubles, who focus their efforts on what is important to them and find this joyful. These people lead a full life. Another quote, use for yourself little but give to others much. Here are the 4 papers of Einstein. Number 1. The first deals with radiation and the energy properties of light and is very revolutionary. Second paper is a determination of the true size of atoms. The third paper explained the motion of microscopic particles in liquid by using a statistical analysis of random collision. The fourth paper is only a rough draft at this point and is an electrodynamics of moving bodies, which employs a modification of the theory of space and time. Albert Einstein was blessed with imagination and guided by faith in the harmony of nature. His fascinating story, a testament to the connection between creativity and freedom. Einstein's quest began in 1895 when, as a 16-year-old, he imagined what it would be like to ride alongside a light beam. As with the special theory, his thinking had evolved through thought experiments. A society's competitive edge will come not from how well its school teach the multiplication and periodic tables, but from how well they stimulate imagination and creativity. Einstein once declared, imagination is more important than knowledge. Persistence and tenacity were obviously already part of Einstein's character. Einstein laughed. I never failed in mathematics, he replied. Before I was 15, I had mastered differential and integral calculus. Einstein's rebellion against religious dogma had a profound effect on his general outlook toward received wisdom. It inculcated an allergic reaction against all forms of dogma and authority, which was to affect both his politics and his science. A foolish faith in authority is the worst enemy of truth. This was reinforced by Jost Windtaler, who disdained all forms of nationalism and instilled in Einstein the belief that people should consider themselves citizens of the world. One contemporary of Einstein complained, at the close of our studies, we knew all the past of physics, but nothing of the present and future. Why are you specializing in physics? His friend asked to Einstein one day, instead of a field like medicine or even law. Because, Einstein replied, I have even less talent for those subjects. Why shouldn't I at least try my luck with physics? The fundamental requirement of education, Einstein felt, was the need for intellectual freedom. I started from the simple idea of attractive forces among the molecules, and I tested the consequences experimentally. But like Spinoza, Einstein did not believe in a personal God who rewarded and punished and intervened in our daily lives. Einstein, a citizen of the whole world, little attached to the people around him, independent of the emotional background of the society in which he lived. Planck, deeply rooted in the traditions of his family and nation, an ardent patriot, proud of the greatness of German history, and consciously Prussian in his attitude of the state. Relativity is a simple concept. It asserts that the fundamental laws of physics are the same, whatever your state of motion. For the special case of observers moving at a constant velocity, this concept is pretty easy to accept. Imagine a man in an armchair at home and a woman in an airplane. Each can pour a cup of coffee, bounce a ball, shine a flashlight, or heat a muffin in a microwave and have the same laws of physics apply. Somebody asked Einstein whether he considered himself a German or a Jew. He answered, "It is possible to be both. Nationalism is an infantile disease, the measles of mankind." Do you believe in God? Interviewer asked. "I am not an atheist. The problem involved is too vast for our limited minds. We are in the position of a little child entering a huge library filled with books in many languages. The child knows someone must have written those books. It does not know how. It does not understand the languages in which they are written. The child dimly suspects a mysterious order in the arrangement of the books, but does not know what it is. That, it seems to me, is the attitude of even the most intelligent human being toward God. We see the universe arranged and obeying certain laws, but only dimly understand these laws. To sense that behind everything that can be experienced there is something that our minds cannot grasp, whose beauty reaches us only indirectly. This is religiousness. In this sense, and in this sense only, I am a devout religious man." A Colorado banker wrote that he had already got responses from 24 Nobel Prize winners to the question of whether they believed in God, and he asked Einstein to reply as well. Einstein replied, "I cannot conceive of a personal God who would directly influence the actions of individuals or would sit in judgment on creatures of his own creature." A little girl in the 6th grade of a Sunday school in New York posed the question in a slightly different form. "Do scientists pray?" she asked. Einstein took her seriously. "Scientific research is based on the idea that everything that takes place is determined by the laws of nature. And this holds for the action of people," he explained. "For this reason, a scientist would hardly be inclined to believe that events could be influenced by a prayer, that is, by a wish addressed to a supernatural being." Jewish as well as Christian theologians have generally believed that people have this free will and are responsible for their actions. They are even free to choose, as happens in the Bible, to defy God's commands, despite the fact that this seems to conflict with belief that God is all-knowing and all-powerful. Einstein, on the other hand, believed, as did Spinoza, that a person's actions were just as determined as that of a billiard ball, planet or star. Human beings in their thinking, feeling and acting are not free, but are casually bound as the stars in their motion. Schopenhauer saying, "A man can do as he wills, but not will as he wills." Einstein replied, "Everything is determined, the beginning as well as the end, by forces over which we have no control. It is determined for the insect as well as for the star, human beings, vegetables, or cosmic dust. We all dance to a mysterious tune, intoned in the distance by an invisible player." In Einstein's philosophy, the way to resolve this issue was not to look upon free will as something that was useful, indeed necessary for a civilized society, because it caused people to take responsibility for their own actions. Acting as if people were responsible for their actions would psychologically and practically prompt them to act in a more responsible manner. When the famed photographer Philip Holzman, who had escaped the Nazis with Einstein's help, asked whether he thought there would be lasting peace, Einstein answered, "No. As long as there will be men, there will be war." Before the Second World War, Einstein had stated his opposition to a Jewish state when speaking to 3,000 celebrants at a Manhattan hotel. "My awareness of the essential nature of Judaism resists the idea of a Jewish state with borders, an army, and a measure of temporal power," he said. "I am afraid of the inner damage Judaism will sustain, especially from the development of narrow nationalism within our ranks." The explanation that Einstein himself most often gave for his mental accomplishments was his curiosity. As he put it near the end of his life, "I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious." Few of us pursue with passion the question of how a magnetic field might work, how fast it might propagate, how it could possibly interact with matter. Here is the ending of the book. Einstein was a loner with a bond to humanity, and thus it was that an imaginative patent clerk became the mind reader of the creator of the cosmos.